If you can't swim, the most dangerous thing in the water isn't the depth. It's panic. And panic doesn't come from weakness. It comes from your brain trying to save you. Imagine this. You step into water that's deeper than expected. Your feet lose contact with the ground. In that split second, your body reacts before your logic does. Your heart spikes. Your breathing shortens. Your muscles tense. Psychology often suggests that when the brain detects sudden loss of control, it activates survival circuitry designed for immediate threat. That response is incredibly powerful. And sometimes, in water, it can work against you. The irony is unsettling but important. The same mechanism meant to protect. You can amplify risk if it overrides calm coordination. This isn't about intelligence. It isn't about strength. It's about how the human nervous system responds to unfamiliar environments. Many adults quietly underestimate how quickly cognitive control can narrow under stress. When you can't swim confidently, your brain may interpret water not as neutral, but as unpredictable. And unpredictability tends to trigger urgency. Urgency speeds breathing. Rapid breathing disrupts rhythm. Disrupted rhythm makes floating and coordinated movement harder. The situation escalates, not because you're incapable, but because your biology is highly efficient at detecting danger. Society often frames swimming as a basic life skill, something everyone should know. So if you can't swim, there can be subtle embarrassment attached to it. But psychology would likely frame it differently. Skills are learned. Environments are adapted to. What feels threatening is often simply unfamiliar. The brain prefers predictability. When predictability disappears, like when your feet can't find the pool floor, your internal alarm system activates. And that alarm system doesn't pause to ask whether you're at a beach party or in real danger. It just reacts. Understanding this shifts the narrative. The risk isn't that you're bad in water. The risk is unregulated panic layered on top of inexperience. And here's what makes this deeply human. The brain would rather overreact than underreact. From an evolutionary standpoint, false alarms are safer than missed threats. So if you've ever felt your body stiffen near deep water, that reaction isn't stupidity. It's protection running at full volume. The key insight isn't fear, it's awareness. When you understand that your brain's urgency response can intensify physical difficulty, the story changes from "I'm helpless" to "my system is reacting strongly." And that distinction matters more than most people realize. What makes water uniquely challenging for non-swimmers isn't just the environment, it's the loss of solid reference points. On land, your brain constantly orients itself through pressure against the ground. Your feet tell you where you are. Gravity feels stable. In water, that familiar feedback disappears. Psychology often suggests that when predictable sensory anchors vanish, the brain increases alertness to compensate. That heightened alertness can feel like anxiety, even if you wouldn't describe yourself as an anxious person. You're not overreacting. Your system is recalibrating in real time. For someone who hasn't built confidence in water, this recalibration can escalate quickly. One concept researchers sometimes discuss is perceived control. Humans tend to stay calmer in risky situations when they believe they have tools to manage them. If you know how to float, tread water, or regulate your breathing, your brain interprets the situation differently. But if those tools aren't internalized, the situation can feel binary, safe or unsafe, with little gray area. That perception alone can intensify physical reactions. Breathing becomes shallow. Muscles tighten. Tight muscles sink more easily. And once sinking begins, the brain reads it as confirmation of danger. It's a feedback loop that builds on itself. There's also the role of social pressure. In the United States, especially, swimming is often associated with childhood summers, beach trips, pool parties. Not knowing how to swim as an adult can quietly feel isolating, even if no one openly says it. That subtle social layer can amplify internal stress. You're not just in water, you're aware of being observed. And when observation mixes with uncertainty, self-consciousness can spike. Psychology suggests that self-conscious attention can interfere with automatic coordination. In other words, the more you think about every movement, the less fluid it feels. Again, this isn't a flaw. It's a natural interaction between awareness and motor learning. When a skill hasn't become automatic, conscious monitoring increases. And conscious monitoring under stress can feel overwhelming. None of this means your brain is dangerous or defective. It means your brain prioritizes survival signals in unfamiliar terrain. Water removes the stable cues your nervous system is used to. Without training, your internal alarm system can get louder than necessary. Understanding that dynamic doesn't create fear, it creates context. And context reduces shame. The real risk isn't that you can't swim. It's misunderstanding. How your own survival responses behave under unfamiliar pressure. There's another subtle factor that can make water more dangerous for non-swimmers. And it has less to do with strength than most people assume. It's the instinct to fight the water instead of work with it. Psychology often suggests that when humans encounter resistance, the immediate reaction is to push harder. On land, that strategy usually works. If you trip, you tense and catch yourself. If something falls, you grab for it. Effort solves the problem. But water operates on different rules. The more abruptly you thrash, the more energy you burn. The more rigid your body becomes, the harder it is to float. And when the brain senses that effort isn't producing control, it can escalate urgency even further. This is where survival reflexes, which are incredibly efficient in many environments, can become counterproductive in water. One reflex sometimes discussed in behavioral science is the air hunger response. When breathing feels disrupted, the brain prioritizes oxygen above everything else. That priority can override coordinated movement. Instead of steady breaths and controlled motions, breathing becomes sharp and rapid. Rapid breathing destabilizes buoyancy. And once buoyancy feels unstable, panic can intensify. It's not that the brain is malfunctioning, it's that it's applying a land-based survival template to a fluid environment. Another dynamic is attentional narrowing. Under stress, the brain often focuses intensely on the most immediate threat cue. In water, that cue might be the feeling of sinking or the splash near your face. When attention narrows, peripheral awareness decreases. You may not notice that the water is shallow a few feet away, or that help is within reach. This narrowing isn't irrational. It's a common stress response, but it illustrates how perception can shift under pressure. For adults who didn't learn to swim early, there can also be a memory component. Early uncomfortable experiences, even small ones like choking on water as a child, can shape expectations. Psychology suggests that prior emotional imprints can influence current reactions, even if the original event was minor. Your brain may anticipate danger before evidence confirms it. Anticipation alone can elevate stress chemistry. None of this is meant to alarm you. It's meant to clarify something important. The real vulnerability often isn't physical incapacity. It's the combination of unfamiliar skill, heightened self-awareness, and an overactive urgency response. When you understand that dynamic, the narrative shifts. You're not bad in water. You're experiencing a very human interaction between biology and environment. And recognizing that can replace self-criticism with informed respect for how powerful and sometimes overprotective your brain can be. So when you hear the phrase, "Your brain could kill you," it sounds dramatic, but the deeper truth is more nuanced and far less fatalistic. Your brain is not your enemy. It is intensely protective. Psychology often suggests that human survival systems evolved to respond quickly and forcefully because hesitation in the wrong context could be dangerous. The problem isn't that your brain reacts. The problem is mismatch. Water requires calm, rhythm, and buoyancy. Your survival response, when untrained in that environment, can default to speed, tension, and urgency. It's not malicious. It's misapplied intensity. And intensity without coordination can increase risk. But here's the part that matters most. Responses are not destiny. Survival reflexes can be shaped through gradual exposure and skill building. The brain is adaptable. What once triggered alarm can, over time, become familiar. Many adults quietly carry the belief that if I haven't learned by now, it's too late, or I'm just not built for that. Psychology would gently challenge that assumption. The nervous system remains capable of learning throughout adulthood. Familiarity reduces uncertainty. Skill increases perceived control. And perceived control tends to soften urgency responses. There's also something deeply empowering about understanding your own biology. When you realize that panic in water is not a sign of weakness, but a predictable stress response, shame loses its grip. You're not defective for feeling intense reactions in an unfamiliar setting. You're human. And being human means your brain sometimes overestimates threat to ensure survival. At a philosophical level, this extends beyond swimming. Many situations in life feel overwhelming not because they are objectively catastrophic, but because they remove stable footing. New careers, new relationships, major transitions. When your feet can't touch the ground, your system may tense. The lesson isn't fear of your brain. It's respect for how powerful it is, and how adaptable it can become with understanding. If this perspective shifted how you think about fear, panic, or unfamiliar environments, sit with that awareness. And if you're interested in exploring more psychology-based insights that help you understand your own reactions with clarity instead of judgment, you may want to stay connected for future conversations like this.